Olá, aqui é Thaís Moretti falando de Xangai, China, e hoje eu estou aqui na academia F45 e eu vou conversar com a Lauren, que é a gerente geral aqui da F45 em Xangai. A F45 é uma rede de academia especializada em treinamento funcional de alta intensidade, com o objetivo de provocar uma queima calórica de até 750 calorias a cada 45 minutos de atividade. A F45 nasceu na Austrália e está presente em mais de 46 países, incluindo o Brasil e a China. Então, na conversa de hoje, nós vamos conhecer como é administrar essa academia aqui em Xangai, o estilo de treino que os chineses mais gostam, se eles treinam mais por saúde ou por estética, e se a F45 teve que adaptar o método aqui para o estilo chinês. Vamos conhecer também as oportunidades de negócio para você, brasileiro, aqui no segmento fitness. Hi Lauren, thanks for joining the show. So tell me a little about yourself. You're a coach and a general manager of 45 in Shanghai.
Correct. So I manage F45. We've been open since 2017 in Shanghai, and we have 3 studios here. So I do all the back-end operations as well as coaching a few sessions through the different 3 studios.
And how is it like to train in Shanghai? Is it different from other countries?
Very much so, in the terms of it's such an international place where you get different elements and different education as well of how to coach people, not just Chinese, but also, you know, people from Brazil are here, people from France, people from America. Our coaches are very diverse as well. So it's really fun in terms of the coaching experience because you get to see so many different people from all different backgrounds.
F45 is present in 46 countries, right?
Yes.
So the method is pretty much the same, or you had to adapt to something for the Chinese market?
Mostly the same. All the programs, if we have the same program here, it'll be the same. If there's a studio in Brazil, it'll be the same there as it will be in Australia on the same day. So the programming is the same. And in terms of differences, the one thing that we do maybe a little bit differently is we're trying to implement Chinese classes. So leading the class in Chinese. Of course, we have screens, so the screens don't have any languages on there or words, so the motion will always be the same. And then, of course, our marketing is bilingual Chinese and English to try and reach both markets.
So you have Chinese coaches and international coaches, and some of them need to speak Chinese language. And besides, are there any other special ability skills that you search in a coach to coach here?
For the most part, it's so much about just understanding your body and making sure that your cues, maybe you can't speak the same language, but understanding how to deliver the cue to that person. So, you know, pushing your hips back or going down to your shins, relaxing your shoulders, being self-aware so that you can deliver the message across to that person.
And are there any special laws and regulations in China? Anybody can be a coach, or is required to have some certificates? And
it's a good question. Fitness is very new still in China. It's growing very fast, but there's still not a lot of regulation with China and coaching. So technically, yes, anyone could be a coach in China, unlike other countries where a certificate is required. For us, we require coaches to have a certificate to coach at our studio, but there's many studios that don't require it, or maybe we'll get a very basic coaching certificate. It's not regulated in that sense.
But if you have more skilled coaches, more background, more professional certificates and everything, the salaries are probably higher.
Mostly experience. So the longer that you can stay with us, then the more your salary might increase. And just making sure you're comfortable with the floor, comfortable with coaching. Obviously, if you know, if you're not going to be a great coach, it's going to be hard to pay someone more.
So how do you select the coach, and how much do you pay? Can you share some numbers as the salaries, the cost of memberships, the rentals, or some numbers about the business since you're the manager?
Sure. So the way we select coaches is we'll do an interview process, and then we'll do 2 weeks of training. They'll have to do on the floor training, making sure their body language is correct, making sure they're speaking properly because they have to lead the class, and making sure their knowledge is there as well. They understand the F45 program. So we've even kind of created a written test that they have to take to make sure they understand. We do a nutrition challenge and know aspects of that, and different challenges and stuff along the way, how to explain that. Another aspect of the coaching is just making sure that your vocal projection is there. So continuing to practice that as well, and making sure, obviously we have different coaches from different backgrounds. So making sure that everyone is clear and understood regardless of how the language is said. You asked about numbers. So for rental in Shanghai, it's not cheap.
Very expensive.
To find a good space to make a profit would probably be in the 30 to 40,000 range. But that can vary depending on if you have a front side location or if you're back a ways more in the neighborhood. So making sure that you're present, even if you're not visually present on the street, that people can find you in terms of marketing and connections around town. That's very important. Our membership prices can vary. So for 2 weeks, it would be 888. Whereas if you purchase a year membership, it's 14,000 RMB with ability to pause your membership if you're traveling, which not many people are traveling right now, but if they are, if they need a break or something like that. So that can vary quite a bit. But it is very much in line with other studios in Shanghai. Of course, that's different to other parts of China though as well.
How many clients you have here in China?
For us, we have over 600. So obviously it varies because we have 3 studios. And then some people might be on class packages. Some people might be on longer term memberships. So trying to gauge that number can always be a little bit tricky, but it's about that.
And how do Chinese people train? You feel like they are very intensive? You're from America?
Yes.
And is the same style? What is the difference?
I guess it goes back to what I said earlier, is that fitness is so new in China. So it kind of depends on the age that people first started working out. So I think people who are my age, when they were younger, maybe they didn't have a lot of physical fitness education. So growing up, maybe they didn't really learn how to move their body very well. And so now they're just getting into this fitness practice and they're just starting to understand things. And so they're starting to learn, how to move their body, how their body works, how they feel and get that fatigue. Whereas there's other people who are maybe a bit more fitness and sports aware, so that they're a bit more familiar with their body and they really want that push. They really want to go hard. So it does vary a little bit on
Not much to do with the nationality. It's more about the way the person was raised in terms of dealing with the sports and childhood.
Definitely. But I do think there's a certain element in China where there's a whole generation that kind of missed sport growing up. So people from that generation, I think, are a bit less self-aware of how their body moves.
But they usually train when they come here, the Chinese people. They search more for shapes. They want to lose weight. They are looking more for the physical or health.
Sure, it's a very good question. I think after COVID, we've seen more people just focusing on the health aspect and getting moving, trying to live a healthy life. But before that, sometimes you would get more members coming in that want a big booty or, focusing on certain elements of fitness where maybe they just don't fully understand the functional training concept. But overall, trying to live a healthier life.
And what about the clothes that they wear? What do you wear? And do you see Chinese brands? What your clients wear?
Sure. So for us, we have a membership with Adidas. So you'll see a lot of the coaches training in Adidas. Lululemon is a very popular brand here as well. And you'll see some Nike as well on the floor. Those are probably the top 3 brands that you see.
You see in class people wearing these top brands usually.
Usually, yeah. And then there's another brand here called Maya, M-A-I-A, which you're starting to see more and more of.
Chinese brand?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so.
Yeah. And the supplements, Chinese people in Brazil, most of our gyms and my friends who exercise, they do whey protein, BCAA, L-carnitine, and other things. In China, it's not so common. At least I don't see so many stores selling these supplements. The people don't like, or the market is very regulated, or people prefer something natural like green tea, or what is your impressions about it?
I think it's becoming more and more used. We'll see more people using protein and BCAA in the studio. But I think partly that's because we do a nutrition challenge, and so we recommend those products. Whereas I don't think, like you said, the education is really there yet. So maybe someone's coming in or has this product, but they don't know how to use it. So we then have to explain, the backstory of how to use the product that you have in your hand. But apart from our nutrition challenge, I think most people are not that familiar with supplements unless they're in the bodybuilding communities in China.
Let's talk about the equipment here.
Sure.
At the gym, you have a lot of equipments to train, and also the visuals, the screens, the music. Are they imported from abroad, or are they Chinese brands?
So everything is with the franchise. So all the equipment we have is the same that's used all around the world, but the equipment is actually made for the most part in China. So it's a very quick delivery. But everything is done through headquarters. So when we have to order the equipment, that's done through Australia, and then it comes delivered from China. Our rowers are Concept 2, so those are sent to us from the US. And I think everything else is received locally.
Cool. So where do you see more potential, despite being a coach, if you're going to invest something in the fitness industry in China? What is your advice? Or you see more potential in the fashion fields, the equipment? Would you open a studio? Tell me something.
Definitely. I think fitness is going to continue to grow in China, especially post-COVID, because everyone's still looking for this healthy, balanced lifestyle. There's still so many communities within China that there's room for expansion and growth in terms of fitness and lifestyle. And even the clothes, I think there's more and more of a shift coming from the high fashion brands towards the luxury brands, towards the more fitness fashion brands. So I think there's a big
More
shift
accessible.
going towards that as well.
Okay. So then, what is your favorite exercise?
Ooh, that's a good one. I feel like I should say burpees because it's always a challenging one. But I'll go with burpees.
Okay. So this was the interview with Lauren. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Obrigada. Sigam a gente nas redes sociais. Thaís Moretz é o meu Instagram pessoal e e-FeitoNaChina, o nosso Instagram também. Fiquem ligados, tem muito mais episódios. E agora a gente vai treinar um pouquinho. Vamos lá. Let's train?
Sure, let's do it.